SFM is brought to you by Air Care One, Worldwide Air Ambulance Services.
I definitely think you will, for sure. I've seen clips of you racing, and you have the speed from what it appears.
Oh yeah, the truck is, and a lot of it is your because these are very much a spec truck. Everybody's running basically the same engine, the same, rear end, the same transmission. It's all in your setup. It's all getting that the stagger in your rear end right. If you can get that stagger right, that agrees with the way your shocks, your springs, everything is working, then it's like David Levitt, the 28 truck. He's a two-time champion, and if he wins this race, he will be the track champion again. That'll be 3 seasons of him being the truck champion. But that guy, he puts in that work. He goes that extra mile, and still a great guy. He will bend over backwards for any of the drivers out there. But yeah, he puts in that effort, and I mean, we beat him in the heat race, and that's where I was like, all right, we're going to get the win, and I got greedy, and I put it in the wall.
Dang.
Yeah.
Who was your biggest hero in racing?
Oh, man, that's a hard one because I like so many guys, but I think if I'm going to pick one, it would probably be Kel Yarbrough.
Oh, yeah. The move he loves.
Yep.
Those words.
He was absolutely probably one of my favorites, and then Bill Elliott was up there. Yeah, and that's kind of what got me hooked on racing when I was, 10 years old. On a Sunday, my mom was like, all right, get up, get ready for church. And I was like, oh, Mom, I don't feel good because I knew the Daytona 500 was going to be televised. So I played hooky from church, and I sat there and watched it, and that's the one where him and Donnie Allison got into it in turn 3 and, went to fisticuffs, and I was like, oh, I want to do that someday. And I finally got to a point at 53 years old where I was able to do it, so...
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've seen that kind of a rivalry happen when I was following NASCAR for a number of years. I saw a lot of rivalries. I was in Phoenix when Jeff Gordon got into it with Clint Boyer and stuffed him into the fencing, and I remember that the crowd was roaring, but when it was all said and done, a lot of people left not really impressed with Jeff Gordon, and I noticed that a lot of Jeff Gordon fans were hiding their caps under their shirts coming back.
Yeah.
And then
that was a pretty unique incident.
Yeah, and I also learned that day how fast those cars are because I was standing in turn 4, like at least 10 bleachers up above the track, and I still felt the energy from the car when it impacted to the point where it threw me off my feet almost, and I had to be held back by people, before I could fall.
They're fast. I've been to a lot of races there at Phoenix International, and man, it's just the roar of them engines and the smell of the gas and the rubber. It's exhilarating being able to do it now. Even though I'll never go any further than Tucson Speedway, which I'm with. I mean, I'm 56 now. I'm not a young kid where somebody's going to be like, hey, man, you're a great talent. We're going to put you in our car.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You know what got me hooked into racing? I got my first glimpse of it through my late grandfather, who worked for Napa. We were watching the 2006 Indianapolis 500 on television back at his home in Sterling, Colorado, where he lived. And we were watching the final laps of that race when Michael Andretti was leading and Marco Andretti was running second, and then far in the field was pole sitter Sam Hornish Jr. And I remember during those 3 laps, my grandfather was excited, thinking that it was going to be an Andretti win for the first time since 1969, and then Marco took the lead, and then had that huge lead against Hornish. Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember my grandfather had a smile on his face when the white flag waved, and then his smile started to fade when turn 3 and 4 happened, and we know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just remember getting the vibe of my grandfather. I mean, he did utter an obscenity after the photo finish. I remember
Can't blame him.
yeah, I just remember that in his thoughts he was probably thinking, yeah, I didn't think Sam would have been able to do that, but he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
SFM is brought to you by Air Care 1, Worldwide Air Ambulance Services. Call now.